Welcome guys, Gio here, hope you're having a great day. And in this video I want to show you the build for Crossbowman in Wartales, and specifically the Gunner. Let me tell you that this is one of the most fun builds to play with. It deals a ton of damage and overall is a great damage dealer, one of the best, if not the best in the entire game. Now, before we jump into the details and see the gameplay and how this entire thing works, I want to share a couple of my thoughts regarding this build. So I wanted to make this as accessible as possible. So we are using only craftable gear. I mean 99% of the gear that we have is craftable. We don't have any legendary weapons or armor or trinkets or layers and so on. So everything that you see you can craft, and therefore you can easily access that. And as you progress through the game you can build the character towards this state. And of course on top of that there are many other options that you can do if you have access to specific equipment or layers or any of that stuff that enhances the build. But this is this build here is in its purest form, and you will see how viable that is. Another thing I wanted to mention is that we're not going to be using during the gameplay any food buffs or any external buffs or anything that you might get from camp or specific status effects or anything. We will only use one food buff, which is essentially free once you have a tavern. So in the end I will also show you how to get that. So now let's take a look at gameplay first. I'm going to show you a couple of different scenarios in multiple different battles, and then we will check the actual details. Then I'm gonna offer you some variations if you don't have specific oils or you want to switch things up in your own gameplay, and then we will wrap things up. So that's the plan. Now let's jump into the gameplay and first see how this build plays out. So here we are. This is a regular battle. We are up against the guards. They are very dangerous enemy, and now we will see how our crossbowmen will deal with the enemy units. So I will start directly with the crossbowman, which is, by the way, not the optimal play here because I do have a tank that applies really nice buffs. So I would usually go with the tank first and then the crossbowman, but since we are focused on the specific build here, I'm going to ignore them and just start play with this. So first of all, let's assess the situation. There are some damage dealers here, some tank, and we are starting the battle. Also we have the loaded initially. When we the crossbows have loaded mechanics, so we can do the one shot, and because we are away from our group, we also get the lone wolf buff, which is always nice. Now we have to start the action, and I want you to pay close attention to what I'm doing here. So first I'm going to do the reload, and now we have a 2 loaded right here, so we can do the 2 shots, our main shots, which is this skill right here. So it says that we can this basic shot essentially shots the amount of times that we have done the reload in the current round. So we have right now, it says current 1, which means we're going to shoot once and then on top we will shoot again. So let's pick our target now and let's hit tactician because he's dangerous. You see, so let's stop right here and check what happens. So we hit to 2 times because our skill had we have the reload, and we had 1 reload and 1 base shot, so we shoot once and then once again on top. So we did shoot him 2 times. So what we gained now loaded, which is 3. So it means we can shoot 3 times. Now why is that? That is because first of all we did the crit damage, and we have a passive here, which is, what is this? No. Okay, which one is that? Yeah, so that one is for when we apply the debuff. Yeah, this is so solid grip. So we landed a crit, and we get 1 reload from that, and we also applied the infectious oil. If you see the enemy here, and this is considered as a debuff. So then this another passive kicks in, and we gain another reload. So now we have 3. On top of that, we have the aim, because this also grants the aim. So we have 2 aim, but we can ignore that. This build is not optimized around the aim at all. Now let's check our basic shot, and if you see, because we reloaded so many times, now it is stacked and we have 3. It means that from moving forward, every shot that we will do in this round will fire 4 times, 1 and plus whatever is stacked here. So let's shoot him. Okay, we didn't even need all the shots. And also, if you see, we didn't consume loaded. That is because we also have another passive that does not consume a loaded after we use basic attack 3 times. So let's now move in here and let's pick this. Look at that. You just run into there and just kill everything. Now let's go there. Gone. Okay, we also have another shot, and I mean we can either go for this guy or this guy, but I think he has the crossbow, so he's more dangerous. We can use aim, and gone. There you go. So we just effectively eliminated 4 enemies right from the beginning. So we also get this buff, which is rage, and this is actually coming from food that I mentioned before, and I will show you how this how you can obtain the same buff, so your damage dealers deal a ton of damage. So this is it, okay, with basic gear, basic equipment, oils and everything, without any special buffs. We just got rid of the 4 enemies. And now, because I also have this tank and I can apply the battle cry, which will grant him brutality and plus 2 rage, I'm usually in my battles I kill 5 or even, depends if I'm lucky, 6 enemies in a single round. But doing that amount of damage, and we just consumed what, 1 Valor point, now we can retreat back and this battle is essentially over. Now the assassin or tanks can move in and just wrap things up. So that's how good this crossbowman guy is. Now we find ourselves in a rat nest, and you might ask, hey Gio, why are you showing us the rat nest gameplay? What's the deal here? Well, the thing is that most beginner players, including myself when I started, are making a mistake of just killing the brood mother first, so the battle is over and then they can just get out. But that's not the point of the rat nest. The point is we really want to destroy these plague infected outgrowths, these things here, because they give us the ingredient to craft advanced oils, and this is where the combination of oils is where the most of the fun is in the end game. So if you are not able to obtain this, then you severely limit your gameplay and end game is just boring, and also a lot tougher because enemies are getting tougher. So this build right here also shines in these situations. when we want to clean up the rat nests, because the goal here is to just quickly destroy this outgrowths and then kill the brood mother. So what we want to do right here is that hopefully at least kill 3 outgrowths in this turn, and see how that goes. So it's essentially the same. We are away from the team, we use the reload, then we just shoot this. We get our buffs and everything as I have described previously. Now we can unload this, and that's gone. Now we can move a little bit here, and now we can shoot this. And now the question is, can I reach that? No, I can't. So let's see. What can we reach? Actually, you know what? We can reach that. We will go there. And now we can just run and just shoot that. So we have eliminated 3 rat nests, and if we use aim, yeah, we don't have any more movement left even with the aim, but you get the idea. So if I have played maybe a bit more carefully, we could eliminate these 3 as well, not the 3 but at least one of them. So in the next round we would just have to kill these 2 and then finish up things. But yeah, that's okay. Now we can use this shot to, I don't want to shoot her because she will die, just some rat, and that's it. So in a single round we have taken 3 out of the 7. If I played more carefully, I probably could have got another one of these, but you get the idea. So if you have this guy in your team, you can also handle the rat nests really well. I also want to show you the pit battle. They are notorious for their difficulty if your party is kind of a lackluster and you don't know what you're doing, but having this guy on the team will make it a breeze to go through this. As you see, we have lots of enemies here, and the main theme in the pit battles is that we want to be killing as much enemies as possible, as quickly as possible. Now that is true for the entire game, but specifically here, because there are so many debuffs, so many enemies, that just having your tanks soak up the damage won't do the trick. You want to be able to dish out tons of damage, and this is what our guy is going to do right there. So I will just start from this position and just kill the enemies that are close to us. So let's move in here and start doing the drill. Okay, that is good. Now we can unload this. So either we can leave this guy because he has infectious oil and he will just die, or we can just come here and use the wrath. Next, we can deal with him. Okay. Now I want to, so we have 2 shots left. So we go there. We shoot this plague-ridden thing here. And next, I'm going to use this. And now I want to shoot the butcher, because these guys here plague-ridden and they are also enemies, so I want them to hit here. So I'm not gonna kill the plague-ridden, I'm gonna shoot the butcher. And yeah, this guy is also already dead, even though that he doesn't know it yet. So we have applied the infectious oil, and at the end of his turn he's just dead. Now, since we have done our job here, we have killed 1, 2, 3, and 4 enemies. So we can just go back and stay into the safety. So if you have this guy overall in your team, the pit battles and these challenges will be way easier. Last but not least, I also want to show you the boss battle. I'm on the arena with some random boss here, and show you just how good this build is against even the elites. As usual, we start with reload, and in this case, because this is going to create a lot of fire around, we can just move away so we are not caught up in fire, and we will just start unloading the hell onto this guy. And take a look how we also accumulate on the enemy the infectious oil stacks. So we just do this, shoot the guy as much as we can, and yeah, we have one more shot left, and yeah, we are done. Look at that. So let that sink in a single round with a basic build, basic craftable gear in oils, nothing really fancy here, we brought these guys down armor completely, and also the health. Okay, I think at least 40%. But here's an interesting thing. On top of that, we have applied 50% of our overall damage with infectious oil. It means that whenever this turn is end, this guy is almost dead. So he has this amount of health left, and we have almost applied the same amount of infectious oil. So now what I can show you is that how this kicks in. I will just yeah, we didn't comply with the requirements and she's gone, but that's not the point. So I will just go in and just hit once, okay, and I'm not gonna do anything else and just wait for the turn to end. Oh, come on. he hit him. Okay, let's just skip this. Yeah, whatever. Gone, you see? Infectious oil kicked in and this guy is gone. That's why infectious oil is so good with this specific build. And yeah, I wanted to show you the boss battle as well. It's very good. And overall, I think this is one of the best, if not the best, damage dealers in the game. And you will have tons of fun playing it. So we have seen how this guy works and how the build plays out in general. It's very impressive, very nice. By the way, all of this is on expert difficulty. That's what I play with. I do not enjoy playing on extreme simply because of increased amount of Valor consumption from the skills. It's just not fun for me. So if you play expert or anything below that, this build will definitely work for you. Now let's get into the attributes first. This is the core of the build, so we want movement up to 20 or even 22, but I've gone with 20, the base value, because this is one of the most important kind of skills you can have in the game, so your characters can move around, and overall it gives you really a tactical advantage over enemies. Next we want willpower 15. Right now it is boosted. We have some buffs and some personal traits here, and this is, I think, non-negotiable for any character. You know, especially on a harder difficulties, you want to be able to survive the first time that this unit may die in combat, which is pretty frequent on higher difficulties in early game. So we want to have that. Next, we want to push everything into crit and make it 100%, because we want to be critting all the time, okay? And that's why we push it to the extreme. And you can achieve this, especially since they have added the level 15 here, we get lots of points, and throughout the gameplay you get kind of random events or something that gives you aptitude points, so there's a plenty of room for achieving that. Now let's take a look at the gear. So we have Acadian steel beret, an Acadian steel waistcoat, and Acadian steel crossbow. These are all crafted. You don't have to chase any legendary lords or any specific things. You can pretty much acquire them as you progress through the game and as your characters are able to equip them. So we use them. They are also pretty good. I usually when I play, I just stick with the crafted gear, which is pretty fine in this game. Let's take a look at the armor layers now. We have 3 times Mir's brooch. It is just amazing layer. It is giving plus 50 critical hit, and it contributes greatly to our 100% crit chance. And this is, by the way, without any buffs, so you don't have to depend on foods or anything for that. So that's why it's so cool. Also, now let's look at the helmet. And as for the helmet stamp, we have Pirate's Lucky Charm. Every time this unit lands a critical hit, their critical damage is increased by 5%. And we're doing a lots of critical hits, so the critical damage is increasing over and over and over. It doesn't have a limit, and as the battle goes on, this guy will deal more and more damage. So it's insane. And if you are playing the larger battles, like in the later rounds, you will just one-shot everyone in the game. As for the oils on our crossbow, we have a perforating oil, which is awesome. I think it's the S tier oil. It just ignores 50% of the target's guard, which is amazing. This is especially useful against the bosses and heavy targets that have high guards. And it is just flat out 50% improvement for us. And then we have infectious oil and infectious oil concentrate. So we apply the effects of infectious oil 100% of the time. And you have seen that when we fought the boss, how we apply infectious oil. The way it works is that when we deal the damage, 50% of that damage is applied as an infection, and at the end of the turn, the amount of infections accumulated will be subtracted from the health of the enemy. Now this is very good, because all the other, especially against the bosses, because all the other debuffs, let's say bleeding or fire or poison, the elites and bosses have reduced damage from such effects, but not with the infectious oil. Infectious oil works same for every target. Apart from that, there is another specific reason I went with the infectious oil, because in order for us to do the reload properly and the build to work properly, we need to be applying the debuff on the enemy, and infectious oil, when applied, is considered as the debuff. But let's say we are not able to kill some target in the first round. Then what will happen is that we have to engage him the next round, right? And if we have applied bleeding or poison or burning, the next time we will shoot, the passive that reloads for every time we apply the debuff won't kick in, because the target is already bleeding, or is already poisoned, or is already burning. So the build will not function well. With the infectious oil, it is just removed at the end of the turn, so in the next round we can infect the target once again. Now let's move on to traits. There's not much control we have over here. If you are starting the game, you can just pick Bloodthirsty to just simply increase critical hit, or if you're hiring through vacancy notices in taverns, you can require this trait to be there. But other than that, you will just You will just accumulate this as you play, and you will get these traits. So there's not much control over there. I mean, there are some ways to farm, let's say sharpshooter and the other ones, but I just wouldn't bother doing that. I usually leave them alone and they kind of accumulate over time. And as for the profession, we are a tinkerer, master tinkerer, which grants the plus 12 critical hit, and it fits nicely there. And we have 100% crit chance, again without any buffs, just with pure build. Let's move on to the actual skills first. Well, for the starters, we want to have a valorous victory because we're gonna be killing lots of units, and getting back valor points is always nice. Next, obviously, it is gunner. This is the skill the entire build works around. Next, at level 5, we can either go for strategic grip or solid grip. This will reload on every crit, this will reload on any debuff, and in the early game I would go with this because if you have oils, you can guarantee that you will apply some debuff, so you get a free reload. Next, on level 8, we get the optimized movement. This is really nice, so it essentially allows us to do additional shot. So every 3 load, the next basic shot doesn't fire, does not consume loaded. So that really ties in nicely with our build. Then at level 10 we pick the Lone Wolf, which is always nice. Damage increased by 10% and damage taken reduced by 10% when we are away from our friends. And then at level 12 we go for class specialization and we pick the solid grip. At this point, and between level 12 and 15 you should be able to have already very high crit chance, if not 100%, and now that already makes this sensible to pick the solid grip at this point. So that's how the skills look. I also want you guys to show the food buff that I have used during the gameplay, which is a free food. One thing I hate in this game is chasing for specific food buffs, because you can't always get the ingredients, and then sometimes your builds work, sometimes they don't work, and then you kind of are forced to like hunt specific animals or chase specific ingredients and so on. So that's really annoying. That's why I almost always avoid the food buffs, even though they are great. But this one specifically is very easy to get, and it is, if we go to the foods, there is a special type of foods. They are called specialties, and these specialties are can be made in tavern, and once the tavern makes the specialty, they also give you the free food. So every once you rest in the morning, you will get whatever your tavern is making from the specialties, and they are really good. Currently the one that I am running with is lake fish, whatever that is, I can't read that word, but essentially what it does is every time we perform an attack we gain 1 rage. So this is really nice for just essentially for the entire team, because every time we do the damage we get 1 rage, which increases our damage for subsequent attacks. And with the crossbowman, as you have seen, we are attacking a lot. Another good one is North Country, which is granting us Feat of Rage. It's similar to the Pirate's Lucky Charm, where our crit damage is increasing. It is good for your damage dealer specifically that crit all the time, but I usually go for this because it is more applicable for the entire team, and I prefer that over some individual buffs. And in the tavern, this is how it looks. You go there, you have you have the you can create the menu there, and you will just assign one of the cooks to cook the specialty. And here we have this lake fish thing, and every time we rest, So if I just rest right now, uh, let's see, the time goes on, and the next day, yeah, we got the notification. Now we have, so our cook has prepared from tavern this dish, and now we can use that again. So it's essentially for free. You don't have to worry about that. That's why I have included this. But even if you don't have this, you're still good. Build still plays really, really well. Before we finish up the guide, I want to give you guys some variations that might work with the build, specifically to gear. So let's say you don't have the specific trinket, the helmet stamp, pirate's lucky charm. Then another good option would be to go for stimulated coating, where you essentially it is increasing your damage 20% if you do not have any debuffs, and ideally you shouldn't have any debuffs. Unfortunately, I do not have this here because I don't know what happened, but on expert difficulty, the drop rate of the helmets, and especially the good ones that you give the trinkets, is so low. So I have only encountered like a couple of ones that are worthy enough to keep. Um, Next variation will be, let's say, with the oil, with infectious oil, right? So maybe you don't have access to that. So then you can use any other debuff oil. You can use wetting oil, which applies bleeding. You can use poisonous oil, or you can use acidic oil with their respective concentrates. So basically anything here that will guarantee for us that we are doing the debuff, so then our passive can kick in. So if, for example, you go for poisonous oil, it is also good because it is stackable, and with the bosses you have seen that when we are stacking the debuff, it has much more effect. Even though the poison will not do a lot of damage to bosses, it's still better than, I think, the bleeding oil or acidic oil. And then on top of that, if you have Assassin's Strychnine, the helmet stamp, which is increasing damage 25% for poisoned enemies, that can also work really well, but unfortunately I also do not have that. And then also, if you, let's say, if you don't have access to perforating oil because it needs some crocswine ingredients and so on, early game you can get the sharpening oil, which is something that will increase your crit damage, and increasing your crit damage is always good. Also, let's say you don't have access to Mir's Brush, which is important to increase the critical hit. If you are at that stage that there is no access to that, or you're not at that level yet, then you can use the other armor layers that increase your crit. For example, layer of the Falcon, which is also increasing dexterity. This layer of no, not this one, but essentially ones that just decrease your critical hit. I think the red one. This is also good. You can increase the movement. You can replace the Mirror's Brute with them, and then try to increase the crit chance with 100% with food buffs like stuffed cabbage, which is increasing by 10%, and then you can increase it even further with the suspicion and so on. And you can go to that route if you reach this. But if you have reached that state, then this build is very solid. You don't have to worry about any of that, and you'll be just fine. So this covers the basic variations. Of course, you are not constrained to that, and if you have access to some legendary gear or trinkets, you can buff this guy up even more. For example, I have acquired this armor layer, this legendary one, which is increasing critical damage and critical hit. and this one is increasing critical hit and dexterity. And if you have that kind of cool stuff, by all means go for it and use it. My goal was to make it as accessible as possible, and show you that even in its basic form this build works really well, and it does. So if you have some cool gear, some legendary trinkets and all of that, by all means go for it, use that. It will be even more deadlier and vicious than it is right now. I think that's it for this video. I've covered everything I wanted to cover with this guide, and the first time I discovered this tricky combination of skills with the crossbowman, I was like, wow, this is so good. But before I kind of figured it out, I was frustrated. I was not dealing lots of damage, and I was even at some point thinking to just kick this guy out and pick the archer or something. But in the end it turned out really well. I've had a ton of fun playing it, and I hope that also you will enjoy in your playthroughs as much as I did when I played with this specific build in my team. So that's it for the video. If you liked it, click the like button, subscribe, and if you have any questions, just let me know down in the comments section below.